You're not April! You're one of the 8-bit foes of the Ninja Turtles! 2!
Okay, we're back, we've tweaked a few things, and now we're ready to take on the rest of the enemy cast. Honestly, there were a lot more than we remembered, and we severely underestimated how long it'd take to go through them all, even with brief snark. So, let's see, yes, we were up to...
This wall-crawling thingamabob only shows up toward the end of the game during the wall-crawling stages to crawl at you along the walls. Probably a robot. You'd think a Ninja Turtles game would have used the climbable wall mechanic throughout the whole dang game, but you'd also expect them to make the damn level enjoyable by any sentient being. The NES TMNT game knows what it's about, however, and that is half-assed frustration, so neither of those things happened.
Okay, Krang can be sensible. We have what is either a robot or a humanoid in armor, tooled up with a jetpack and a laser gun. Classic stuff. Flying and shooting, very NES. Compared to some of his co-workers, I'm looking at you, Boomerang Bouncer, he's an overachiever, if a little simply designed. He shows up in later stages as a general foe and low-power mini-boss. Simple but solid.
It's like Ed 209, E.T. and RoboCop had one wild weekend together, and this was the offspring. He's not thrilling, but at least he mostly makes sense. He walks and shoots, doing the minimum required to get paid as a low-level video game flunky. This is why you're never gonna get promoted, pal.
I've dubbed this thing the Whirly Nerd, short for Negligibly Effective Robot Drone, because as the replacements for the Sky Prawns in later enemy sets, they do the same simple patrolling and contact damage. Weirdly, they're a robot scorpion with a helicopter blade in place of a stinger, removing the whole reason one would design a robot to look like a scorpion. Assuming it's a robot, who can tell?
You know, between this and the dive bomb, I'm starting to think that Krang and the goddamn Shredder are out to weaponize irony. Nintendo Power called this thing just Robo, but we can do better. It'd be hard not to do better. A presumably robotic dude who wanders around aimlessly and breathes fire, which seems normal enough for a video game. But this guy thankfully's got a bit more going on. If you kill him by hitting his body, his head will fly off and zip around madly, using the ears on the helmet as wings. Kinda Mega Man-y, really. I don't know what raises more questions, this being a robot designed to do that thing, or him being literally anything else.
Ever since Metroid, flying jellyfish have been no surprise in video games. What is a surprise is when they explode into painful bubbles. And not even when you hit them or even get close, just at random. Of course, this is early video games. These bubbles being deadly is no surprise whatsoever. While this could be a mutant, it seems more like something Krang would have smuggled in from Dimension X. Something about this dimension just makes them dangerously unstable and prone to explosive decompression.
Okie dokie, so we've got a kangaroo, mayhaps robotic, lacking arms, that fights by jumping around and attacking with its tail. Yeah, this is obviously one of Krang's, but what's the goal here? Is this a robot version of some Dimension X native animal? Is Krang really into Dougal Dixon? Were the comical arms with boxing gloves not ready by the time the Turtles breached the Technodrome? NES TMNT, tell me your secrets!
This thing is either a hawk that's been trained to drop boulders larger than itself on talking humanoid turtles, or it is a robot hawk designed to drop boulders larger than itself on talking humanoid turtles. And it's probably the latter, because it doesn't show up until the same time the Technodrome does. Also, because...
A 5-ounce bird could not carry a 1-pound coconut!
Sorry, had to.
Okay, so here's the pitch. You take a trilobite, a spider, and a person, smack them with the U's. Bam! You get this thing. They slide up and down on web lines from their butts, occasionally spitting pain bubbles at you. I'm gonna guess digestive acid. Then again, this thing's physiology is such a mess, it could just as easily be a mechanical claw on a tow line that spits pain bubbles and hang out in caves. It's not like that's too silly for this game. Or most NES games, really.
A melty-looking dude who splits into tinier, meltier-looking dudes when you hit him. And those tinier dudes turn into two even tinier dudes when hit. There's countless games where the enemies do this, but since this is TMNT, we can get wacky with the why. I've decided he's a human mutated with a slime mold, and all of his few in-game appearances are subdivisions of a larger singular whole.
I know most people probably think he's a porcupine, but this guy's drooping snoot says echidna to me. This is vitally important. He jumps around all up in your personal space, shooting spikes out of his back like porcupines, hedgehogs, and echidnas all don't. And he's naked. Why won't the goddamn Shredder give his mutants clothes? Do they have to earn them? I mean, yeah, the turtles don't wear pants either, but at least they got the pads and belts and stuff. Accessorizing is essential.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Okay, this guy's my favorite baddie in the whole game, so I saved him for last. He's a pillbug slash roly-poly, mutated into a sort of pint-sized megalon with a dancer's physique, who either has a really big chin or hinges his head open at the midsection to spit pink tadpoles at our heroes. And he's too extra to walk when patrolling, so he curls up and roll patrols. Everything about this guy is wacky and fun, and with a little more color and a splash of job-related theme, he could be a pretty great mutant foe for the Turtles in the larger franchise. And I think we're done. So yeah, an early tie-in video game made well before the thing it was tied into was completed, resulting in a lot of weird, barely theme-appropriate villains. Also horrifically unfair gameplay that leads one to doubt this thing was ever playtested. Boy.
Thanks for joining us on this rundown of the forgotten foes of the Fightin' Four. Who's your favorite among this menagerie of mediocrity? Who would you like to see in a future Turtles reboot? Let us know in the comments!
And while you're mulling it over, what vintage video games do you think have some fun or just weird bestiaries? We've got a few more on our list we'll be hitting, but the old game libraries are vast and we might not know a real gem. Ideally, we're looking at the 80s through the 90s. Again, let us know in the comments, and hey, hit that like button, ding the bell to get alerts, and subscribe.
And if you really like the stuff we do, we've also got a Patreon where you can pick subjects for us to riff, and who knows what else might happen. See you in another video!
Geek Vision.